Welcome back. With the Packers about to embark on a new season, a newly available documentary allows you to embark on a trip back in time with the team. Linked to Legends, the UP teams that played the Packers, tells the story of the franchise's early connection to their neighbors to the north. The two are remarkably intertwined. The documentary was made 3 years ago as a fundraiser for the public television station in Marquette. But this past Saturday, it was made available to everyone via streaming. And we are joined now by the film's creator and producer, Dwight Brady. He's a professor of multimedia journalism at Northern Michigan University and also a former sports director at WLUC up in Marquette. So, Dwight, why did you make this film? What was the hook for you here?
Well, I mean, I'd known about this historical link between the UP town teams and the Green Bay Packers from the time that I was a kid. And this idea kept rolling around in the back of my head saying that, somebody has to tell this story. And I received a sabbatical leave of absence from my position as a professor here at Northern Michigan University and decided to take that deep dive into this history between, the UP town teams and the Packers, who were actually at that time in their early years were just another town team. And so some of those interactions between the UP teams were pretty close games. There were 9 games in total from 1919 through 1926. And for example, in one of the games, it was a 3-0 game between the Packers and the Stambo All-Stars. The only reason the Packers won is that Curly Lambeau kicked a late drop kick to win it 3-0. So it was pretty competitive in the early years.
I want to get to some of the stories in just a second, but let's talk a little bit of how you put this together, because you managed to put this together during a thing called COVID. You did a lot of interviews in the summer of 2020. You released it in November of 2020, and as we mentioned, now it's available for everybody to stream. But what challenges did producing during a pandemic present?
Well, certainly, yeah. I was able to do a lot of the research, prior to the pandemic. But yes, during the summer, I had to basically put off the interviews in the wintertime. I think Steve Mariucci was my last interview before COVID hit. We did it then over the summer with as many outdoor interviews, or at least in large rooms, to mitigate any spread of disease. Anyway, we managed to sidestep COVID and keep everyone healthy and come up with a pretty coherent story about this incredible history of the early years of the Packers and again, some of these interactions with the town teams from the UP.
All right, these town teams, these town leagues, they provided the opponents for the Packers. But did Curly go mining, pardon the pun, because there's a lot of mining towns up there. There's a lot of these guys, their day jobs were miners, right? So did he go mining these leagues for players?
He did. He tried to recruit a lot of players from the UP. And in fact, I think 6 of the original Packers had some kind of tie to the Upper Michigan area. Hartley Hunk Anderson and Fred O.J. Larson, they were from the Keweenaw Peninsula here in Upper Michigan, and they were teammates of his down at Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. And so when it came time to play this all-star game, or at least the end of season game against Racine, I think it was a state championship game in the 1920 season, he brought on Anderson and Larson as players for the Packers, but they also were still playing at Notre Dame and had years of eligibility left, and that actually got the Packers thrown out of the American Professional Football Association in 1920 at the end of the season. And Cliff Crystal, the Packers team historian, gave me all the information on this. It was incredible. But a stroke of good luck for the Packers is that during that offseason, the American Professional Football Association becomes the NFL.
Right.
And the Packers were reinstated. So imagine what would have happened if they had not been reinstated. There's no Lambeau Field, there's no Vince Lombardi at Green Bay, there's no Ice Bowl, no nothing.
All right, that's one of the great stories. I really like the story of the guy. Peter Contrado played for Bessemer, and he was twice invited to play or try out by Curly for the Packers. But his wife would not let him go the first time because it was haying season. And according to the film, the second time around, his boss at the fire department said, sure, you can go try out, but you better make the team because when you come back, you won't have a job. So he said, no, I'll stick to the job. Do you have a favorite story?
I tell you what, there's a lot of really interesting stories. And one of the things that surprised me, I knew a lot about the old Packers, but there was this one individual, Johnny Blood McNally, who you don't hear a whole lot about. We hear a lot about Don Hudson, of course, Curly Lambeau. But Johnny Blood McNally was one of those four players that were inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in its inaugural year in 1963. His first 3 games as a professional were for the Ironwood, Michigan Legion team. Ironwood had a great Legion team. They played the Packers tough in the 2 meetings that they had, and also that Legion team with Johnny Blood there for the 3 games. I think they tied the Duluth Eskimos. They were also an NFL team at that time, and they had quite a history of playing the Eskimos and also the Milwaukee Badgers. So what a humble beginning for his Hall of Fame career, but it started here in the UP.
Incredible stuff. And other connections quickly. First game ever was against a team from the UP, Menominee. First road game ever was against a team in the UP, Ishpeming, right? And the first Thanksgiving game came against those aforementioned Stambo All-Stars. That was, they were also from the UP. Dwight, this is great stuff. Thank you for making it available to everybody. Congratulations on this film.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm excited to offer this for anyone who wants to enjoy some great Packer history and UP history as well.